so much. I'm SoCal Val. How you guys feeling? Yay! Thank you for being here. We have some amazing panels so far, but we are starting out with an absolute legend. Ladies and gentlemen of Wales, please give a warm Welsh welcome to the amazing Matt Ryan! Woo! He deserves a traveler's entrance. One more time for Matt Ryan, everybody! I was going. It's like a maze.
I was actually at the top there.
Were you?
Yeah. And then I came down to this one. I was like, by the time I get around and find it. So I just went through it.
You're like Phantom of the Opera in Wales.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're just starting out. I usually ask how the Comic-Con's been treating you, but we're just starting out. Our first guest of honor. Aren't we excited for Matt to be here in Wales?
Oh.
And you guys are here for the first time. We're going to get a microphone out here. I'm going to fangirl for a moment and ask a few questions, but then we want to make it interactive. You know, Monopoly is all about by the fans, for the fans, so get your questions ready. We're going to get a microphone down here so we can make this an interactive Q&A, if you will.
Sure.
But you're no stranger to these Comic-Cons. I met you in Liverpool.
Yeah.
What is the Comic-Con experience like for you?
I love it, you know, it's just like such a great community. Everyone is so nice. I always say, like, you never find any trouble as well, you know, there's never anything going on. Everybody accepts everyone for who they are. People dress up and enjoy themselves, and I think for like, I can only speak for myself as an actor, you know, but it's a little reminder of kind of, you know, the work that you've done, you know, and I really get a lot from the appreciation that you guys have for what I do. So I always feel really lucky to see you, and I get lots of lovely, and there's so many familiar faces that I see. Hopefully I remember all your names, you know what I'm like. But yeah, I really enjoy them, and I always have a lovely time and get such wonderful energy from you guys. So thank you for your continued support, really, of what I do and the whole kind of Comic-Con community.
No, very well said. Round of applause for that, because you guys, it's really a sense of community, which I love. It's very inclusive. People will say, wow, you know, we were best friends. We met at Comic-Con, and we love to hear that.
Yeah, people get married and stuff. I've been to some in America, and they were like, we got married, we met at a Comic-Con, we got married, and it's really cool.
It's like you found your people. It's like you found your tribe, for sure. But you mentioned people dressing up. Now, Wales is definitely famous for having some of the best cosplay we see at Monopoly events. There's so many great ones. What are some of the best cosplayers that you've ever seen? There's some amazing ones, right?
There's some crazy ones. I mean, the time and the energy that people put in, and sometimes it's like, you know, per season, per year, that they work all year, and then they bring out like these big Transformer costumes and walking around. Some of the like Transformer costumes that I've seen have just been like unbelievable. I'd like to say John Constantine, but it's a pretty easy costume, you know?
Inexpensive, right?
Yeah, this is what I loved about Legends of Tomorrow, because Legends of Tomorrow used to go to different timelines, and everyone used to have to go and have costume fittings for the different periods they were in. And John was just like, nah. So like all the actors would be running off to do costume fittings, and every day I just like same shirt, same tie, same trench coat. I've actually got that costume in my house, and I even got it like so down to the T that I had the sound department wire my tie so that I didn't even have to go to sound for them to wire me. And it wasn't because I was lazy, it was about efficiency, right? Because you're on a tight schedule. So I'd have them put the little lapel into the tie, and then I just walk up, grab my mic pack, click it in, and walk on the set, and everybody would be like, spend 20 minutes doing that. It's true. It's kind of very John Constantine though, isn't it?
Like Batman's closet, I'd assume,
yeah? Yeah, all the same.
Right. I would assume that, you know, if you guys are looking for a Halloween costume, it's a very inexpensive cosplay.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Well, we're going to talk about Legends of Tomorrow, an amazing DC Universe, and a big fan, but I have to say, when I do the hosting here for Monopoly, when someone is from my favorite show of all time, The Tudors.
Oh, yeah.
I have to ask you about your experience on that show. Any Tudors fans in the crowd? Yay! JRM, there we go.
That was a while ago now, wasn't it? And
I
it was
one friend in the audience.
It was a huge show at the time, I remember, and I just finished doing 3 years with the Royal Shakespeare Company, and they asked me if I wanted to stay for another 3 years to do all of the history plays. And I really wanted to do those plays, but I felt like I'd been in one place doing theatre for enough time, and I wanted to get off and do something else, and then it's amazing. Hey Johnny. And then I got the Tudors, and you know, it's sad. The character actually, historically, he was the king's kind of right-hand man, really. And then Cardinal Wolsey kind of did the dirty on him, and he ended up getting locked up and went mad in the Tower. But it was really fun to play, really, really cool to do that, and I enjoyed it. Yeah.
You do crazy so well.
Yeah.
You really do. Well, guys, we are going to put a microphone, I don't know where Tom is, we're going to get a microphone for you guys here in just a minute, but obviously I can tell everyone wants to talk about your experience on Legends of Tomorrow.
Today. Do you know one of my favorite episodes? Like, at the time I was like, what the is going on? Do you know the one when they all turn into puppets? And there was a bit, and John comes in and there's a bit and he goes, what the? And it cuts, you know? And at the time I was like, I think I've ended my career, like, you know, I think like John Constantine, you know, it's like, is John gonna turn into a singing puppet, you know? And then when I watched it back, I was like, those guys are genius, you know? And you look at today, like all of the superhero shows and lots of the shows, a lot of the stuff that they did on Legends was so before its time. What was I watching? I was watching something, what was it? It was a superhero thing that recently was on. It'll come to me now, but they were all in an American camper van, you know, and then all these little bits, and I was like, that's Legends. We did that on Legends, and they were breaking the boundaries. I think one of the first TV shows to kind of really break the boundaries and be really absolutely ridiculous, you know. And I just loved how far we were able to go with some things, and I can remember being like constantly surprised. Like every time you got a new script, there was always this nervous energy of like, where are we going now? What's it going to be? And it's almost sometimes like a completely different, you know, setting, a television show. And like, what other TV show do you get like a unicorn from hell that rips a nipple off and then the nipple comes back episodes later to... I mean, I was like, these guys are really on something in California, you know?
Just another day at work, right?
Yeah, it's really fun.
We love all of the superheroes in the different universes, DC and Marvel, and you know, we have the cast of Arrow here. There's so many great superheroes. Yes, we've got a lot of superheroes this weekend. What are your earliest memories of superheroes? Were there ones that stuck out to you, be it Spider-Man, Superman, Batman?
Well, I grew up watching the Kevin Conway Batman series, and then and for me it was Christopher Reeve and Michael Keaton as Batman and Superman, you know. And I used to watch the Spider-Man cartoon as well. But I can remember Saturday mornings, like Batman the cartoon was my like that was my thing, you know. I used to love it, yeah. And Christopher Reeve, I rewatched them recently, the Christopher Reeve movies. He's just amazing, that guy, you know. He's got so much. He's so much Superman, you know. He's got that elegance and like everything that character needs. And it's funny because I feel really lucky because technically I've worked with 3 Supermen. So I worked with Henry Cavill in the Tudors, Brandon in Legends, who I thought was absolutely amazing as a Superman as well, and Tyler in the crossover. So I'm like, I've worked with 3 Supermen. It's pretty cool.
We just met Brandon, and I, as they say in wrestling, I marked down. I said, oh my God, I just loved you as Superman.
Yeah.
I loved him in that. Well, obviously, you know, there are so many genres here. We've got superheroes, we've got Star Trek, Star Wars, Harry Potter. Is there a genre that you're a big fan of, be it fantasy or horror or...
I like a bit of everything, you know. It's a little bit like acting, doing like theatre work or TV work or voice work or motion capture. I feel like once I've done one of them for a long time, I need to switch it up and go into and do something else. And hence when I was doing 3 years of theatre at the Royal Shakespeare Company, I was like, I gotta do something else. And I feel a little bit like that with genres. I go through kind of cycles, you know. I've always loved sci-fi, a huge like Philip K. Dick fan, and I've always loved that genre. And fantasy, you know, like The Lord of the Rings and Sean is here. And fantasy, I kind of like, but I also like that like real down-to-earth gritty dramas. You know, there's a Gary Oldman movie called Nil by Mouth, which he directed. It's like an awesome movie. So I flip between them all. At the moment, I'm kind of like fantasy sci-fi. Yeah, and I'm reading a book as well, the culture novels, and it's called Consider Phlebas, which is by Iain M. Banks, and there's like 7 books. And I read one of them out of context years ago, and I thought I'll go back to the beginning. So But I love that kind of like big space opera, you know, sci-fi.
What's the term space opera?
I know. Where does that come from?
I
It
don't
makes me
know.
just think of like the musical, you know, the whole singing opera in space.
I think of like Spaceballs, I don't know.
Yeah.
Which I saw before Star Wars, but we're not going to get into that conversation. It angers a lot of people. So I don't see the microphone set up yet, but what we're going to do is if you guys have a question, just come on over to the side here and I will be your microphone stand. Don't be shy. This is what happens when it's the first panel of the day. Everyone's
can
very
shout it
shy.
out.
Yeah, or you can shout it out if anyone has a question. First of all, raise your hand and we'll point at you. You'll have to just use your pipes. Oh, we've got one in the front row. Hi there. Starting with the saucy questions, Wales, and I love it.
I'd kind of say like Julius Caesar, but Julius Caesar was in Legends. But like out of context of that, or maybe in context of that, I don't know, because Sean likes a bit of everything. I think I think one of his partners at one point was King Shark. I mean, you know, when people ask about John's sexuality, it's like everything. Demons, like the lot, you know. Aliens, exactly, you know. But that's a good one. I love the Shakespeare episode where we went back, because I always love that time period. If I was time traveling myself, I'd probably want to go back and watch a Shakespeare play in that time with Shakespeare, because he was an actor as well, in it. You know, that would be really, really cool. But, Cleopatra, but she was in Legends as well. I mean, you just can't get away from it. Like they covered so much ground in Legends. And Zari dressed up as her. That's it. John will be done. He's out. He's out.
Very inclusive. I like it.
Yep.
I dig it. Yeah. There's no slut shaming here. No, absolutely not.
I do what's going to happen now. Throughout the day, I'm going to be thinking of all of, and I'm going to be popping them off like in my brain. So when I see you later, I'll probably have like 10 lined up. Yeah.
You'll have to let us know on social media. By the way, if you are not following Matt Ryan on social media, you must. And I just found out you're going to be doing a live signing on August 22nd with Streamily. Tell us about that.
That is cool, yeah. So Streamly is this thing where you can do like live signing autographs, and you do it like on their Instagram or your Instagram. Probably you guys probably know like me and my Instagram techniques, right? They're not the best, but I'm getting better at it. I'm trying to learn. But yeah, it's a really cool thing where you can get like memorabilia stuff online, which you can't get anywhere else. But one of the coolest ones that we've got, man, is I didn't even know this, but there's a company that make an Assassin's Creed Edward Kenway rum, and it's official. And I was like, and it's good. Me and my mate, I was like, so we bought 6 bottles, right? And then I signed them and for the thing. And then I was like, oh, we gotta have one to ourselves, man. So we tried it, and it's really good. But you can get like all different kind of like memorabilia and photos and all of that online, and then the people do they live stream us signing it for you guys. It's a really cool thing, actually.
August 22nd, Streamily. Make sure you go to his Instagram and figure that out, and make sure you go and watch it signing live.
And if you like the rum,
oh. Yeah. Okay, what do you think, guys? 2025 rum tasting with Matt. Who's in?
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got a question over here. If you just want to shout it out.
Hey.
In the blue there. Hi there.
He wants to know that when you gave Arrow the magic tattoo, why didn't he come back to life after he died?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe he did somewhere in some other universe. I mean, with the multiverses now, like all over the place, it's just crazy what they can do with characters and where they can pop up. You know, I haven't seen. Has anybody seen the new Deadpool movie? I haven't seen it yet, but it just looks so meta, and it just feels like Ryan Reynolds has just got it right, like giving the fans what they want. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but I don't know. So maybe, you know, he's in another universe with a different John Constantine.
Maybe he's got a blue tie this time.
Maybe he's got a blue. No, he wouldn't. It's Tories. You know, the time it's political at the time. Yeah, oh yeah. Because when Constantine was written, it was the earlier Hellblazer graphic novels were very political, and it was the Thatcher age when they were shutting down all the coal mines in the country. And John is your blue collar working class guy from Liverpool, against all of that. So and as we know in this country, blue represents Tories and red for Labour, so to speak. But I don't know. I read into everything so much because I love all that. But I couldn't see him in a blue tie. I think Castiel has a blue tie, doesn't he? But yeah, that's right. Yeah. Did you know also what was funny? Because I met Misha at a Comic-Con in Liverpool. It's the first time I met Misha and Jensen, such cool guys. But for years, I've been doing signings and people bringing me a picture of him and vice versa. We're like, I feel like I know you, dude. You know what I mean? It was really, really cool. And I think that originally on that show, they wanted the John Constantine character, but they weren't able to get it, so they created Castiel, which is such a great character. And he's awesome.
Yes, super nice, Misha. We had a question, I think, on this side as well. Hello there, just shout it out.
Hey, so I wanted to know, basically, with you portraying Constantine, like, what was the most difficult part of portraying him, whether it be parts of his personality, which are a bit more dubious, so to say, or just kind of, like, some of the stories and stuff that you've done either in the show or even in the animated universe as well?
I think that, do you know what? He's actually such a liberating character because he says what he wants. He says what he wants, but he's the biggest trickster as well, you know. But because he's so bold and so brave, but on the inside, he's shaky and tender like the rest of us. But he's got this front and this ability to push through whatever it takes to get done, you know, even if it does take him a couple of drinks or something, you know? But he does, and in a way, like, he's such a bold character that it was kind of enlightening in a way, you know. You have to come out of yourself to play it, you know. Like I say, like this, you know, but John walks in the room, he's like that, and I'm like, do you know what I mean? He don't give a shit, you know. And like, you know, after taking on that physicality, and the walk that I developed for him was just like, my friend who played Gary Lester in episode 4 of the Constantine series. He was a really good friend. He is a really good friend of mine. We worked at the Royal Shakespeare Company. When I heard that they cast him, I was just like, that's so great for the relationship of these two characters. And when he came on set, he was like, what are you doing? Because I was like, I had this John Constantine struts. And it came from the comics. You know, if you look at the panels in the comic, everything's slightly, or it's like straight, or there's always an angle to it. And I kind of took that on, and it gave me, in my life, kind of a confidence as well. So there was those great things. I think, in terms of the difficult episodes to film, on the Constantine show was the one when I put the demon Pazuzu inside me, and then I was possessed. Just because you're doing that for like 15 hours and, you know, writhing around, and it was exhausting. And also, I was reading up about all this stuff, demonology, you know, and I read all the grimoires, which are the real magic books, and studied what demons they are. And the consultants on Constantine there was an exorcist, a real exorcist who was a consultant. And so the spells that he was giving me were real. And sometimes like, dude, I'm asking for a demon to come in, you know, like this, you know, it's a bit, and you know, you're meaning it as well because you're trying to portray the reality of the situation for the character. And so there were times when I was like, you know, I'm actually inviting this entity. And the demon Pazuzu is the same demon that they used, the movie The Exorcist was based on. It's the same demon. And I was like, I seen that movie. You know, so there was those things, and I feel like I was reading the comics every night, and when you're in that kind of space, like reading all that dark, twisted stuff, which some of the early comics were really dark and twisted, you know, after a while I had to stop reading them just because I'd have bad dreams. And then I wouldn't get sleep, and then I'd be tired. And I think maybe that was maybe part of the process of like John Constantine working on me as the time went on. You know, I got more tired and more haggard, and I was like, oh God. I don't think he does, no, I don't think he does, but no, there were so many great things about him as well as a character to play. There was one time during the pandemic and John Joe, that guy, John Joe O'Neill, his name is, and something was happening. I was stuck in a room with my brother. And that was interesting experience after we hadn't lived together since we were 16, and I was freaking out a bit. And he was like, "Man, you just need to like channel your inner John Constantine." I was like, "Oh yes," you know, like the fact that he sticks up the bird to the devil as he's, you know, on his way back from hell, just cracks me up, makes me laugh.
It's a vibe for sure. We have
It
time for
is.
a few more questions, and I see a hand up over here.
Hey, hi. Okay.
What part of being an actor brings you the most joy?
Audience, you know, telling stories, you know, and that's what I like about these things as well. You get to meet people. When you do television and film and mocap, you don't, you know, the work is in a vacuum, you know. And when you come and meet people and you go, "Oh God, it affected someone enjoyed that story," that's the most rewarding part. And that's why I love theatre, because it's you and the audience, and you know, there's a communication, there's an energy exchange between the two, you know. And it's the people, it's the storytelling, telling stories about human beings, you know, who we are, and then the commonalities that we all have and the differences we all have, and telling a story and an audience being affected by that or reacting to that. That's my favourite part of it. And the fact you get to, you know, on Legends, you get to be silly, you get to laugh, cry, you get to go through all the emotions of, you know, of life, you know, so you're kind of exploring all of those different things. And sometimes then your personal life can become very boring, do you know what I mean? Because you're like, well, the work is where the fun's at.
Great question. You guys have had great questions so far. We're going to do one final question here with the lovely lady in the white.
Yes.
I love the smirk. That tells us everything we want to know. Well,
I'm
because
terrible. Some people, you guys know me, I'm terrible. I can try to keep it.
well, I think we have time for one final question. This lovely lady here. Hi. You got it.
Yeah, I would. You know, there's over 300 comics of the Hellblazer, and then the New 52, and then the Rebirth, and then the ones they're doing now, which are absolutely unbelievable. You know, I've only read the two of them, but I'm just like, and every time I read it, I get a little bit of a pang. You know, it's like, ah, man. So I try to keep my distance a bit because I love the character so much, and I feel that there's still a lot more to give to the character. But with these things, I feel, you know, you don't have ownership over them. You know, it's like Superman. How many people play Superman? Everybody's versions are different. There's different interpretations, and people bring different things. But you know, as an actor, yeah, I'd love to play John. You know, I'm getting older now, so you know, if they were going to decide to go for, you know, the younger version of that, maybe in a crossover in another 10 years, I'll turn up, you know, on a Zimmer frame, a bottle of scotch, and I think. But yeah, of course, he's such a great character, and there's so many great stories to tell that we never got to tell. I think Legends of Tomorrow did a great job in trying to incorporate some of those storylines, but that's an ensemble show. So you have to kind of pay lip service to each character. I always felt like, you know, if there was the show like, which was on HBO or something, where you could really go the full way. Like, you look at shows like The Boys, and where that is able to take it now. If you could do what you really want to do with John Constantine, then that would just be off the charts. And to get the chance to do that, because the show that we did, I thought was really as close to the comic books as we could get within the, you know, confines of a network television show. But you know, with the way things are today, you could really go to town and have some fun with John. Yeah. But you know, these things aren't decided by us, and whoever plays it next, I'll be supportive of that, and I'll be an avid fan watching.
That's why the fans have such a voice on social media, so make your voices heard if you want to see Matt in something specific. And of course, follow him at Matt Ryan Real on Instagram. Now, a final question for me is, I know you have so many adoring fans that want to see you here in Wales. He's going to be doing photo ops and autographs, but what are you looking forward to after Comic-Con? Be it something professionally or personally, what's next for you?
I'm going to Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to Miami. So I'm going to Miami on Tuesday, then I'm there for 2 days, and then I fly to Connecticut.
That's not nearly as cool as Miami, is it?
No, well the thing is, it's crazy, I'm just gabbling now, but to fly from the UK to Connecticut was actually much longer, and I have friends in Miami, than to fly to Miami, stop, stay a few nights and go over, like just the flight times, you know, and the changes you had to do. So I was like, let's stop there. And then after that I go to LA, and then I'm back here. And then I'll be, I think I'm doing another one of these in Belfast then in the next month.
I will see you
And I've
there.
never been to Belfast.
It is so much fun.
Is it? And my best friend's from Belfast as well, John O'Neill's from
Perfect,
Belfast.
perfect. And have you had any time to actually experience being home for this trip?
I literally landed, I don't even know when, and my parents live in Wales, in Swansea, so I drove straight there, spent a little bit of time with the dog and my parents, and then I drove up last night. So I did, yeah.
Well, a big round of applause and a welcome home to Matt
Thank
Ryan.
you guys, it's lovely to see you all.
Thank
Thank you so much. Have a great time.
Give it up one more time for Matt Ryan, our hometown hero, if you will. He's headed over to the